Barry Price says, how did you feel as you were attacked by these people? I didn't feel great, Barry. I'll be honest with you. It's not easy to put a brown Muslim immigrant into a room full of white supremacists and then expect to...
Jubilee kept the tame shit. Apparently it got really racist. Yeah, because Jubilee is a right-wing organization. They cut it for the benefit of right-leaning people. If you go there and it's like a right-wing versus left-wing thing, they will structure it to maximize the watchability, the zeal. And the fact is that for the kinds of people who watch Jubilee 1v20s, they're more interested in seeing like the right-leaning argument expressed in the most coherent, cohesive way. But you can't play too much into the left-leaning side because they're the correct one. You know, you have to create that impression of balance. In truth, 99% of right-leaning discourse is just open hatred, you know? If you, like, you take a look at the way Nazis behave when they go on Jubilee, and they're like, I'm just concerned about the demographic replacement, da-da-da. You go on Stormfront, and they're like, N-word! 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 Like, that's, even showing them how they act, like, when they have the cameras on them, it's like you're doing them a favor, right? Because the reverse isn't the case. You take a look at like left-wing circles, and what do you see? Like in internal discussion, polyamory and policy wonkery, and people arguing over what exact interpretation of Marx is correct. You don't see the equivalent, you know? Whatever whatever sort of jovially problematic characteristics the left exhibits, they exhibit it in public too. But the left is duplicitous by their nature.
But racist abuse is something we shouldn't normalize or think is okay as part of a debate. So no, it wasn't great, but you know, I know how to hit back.
It shouldn't be normalized, but light should be shown on it for sure. And that's why it frustrates me. It's so dishonest to like pretend that right-leaning people's grievances are rooted in some kind of academic disagreement or fact-based disagreement when overwhelmingly it's just animosity, you know?
Hasan Khan says, you've interviewed world leaders and debated policies for years. How did this experience on Surrounded, facing openly fascist individuals, compare in terms of emotional and intellectual challenge? What a great question, Hasan. Well, first of all, it's very different. Even if they hadn't all been freaks and loons, these are quote-unquote ordinary people. Actually, many of them turned out to be kind of online influencers. But it was pitched to me as, ordinary people. These were not politicians. These are not people in power.
Because they fucking lie. Yeah, because Jubilee always does this. They say like, yeah, we're going to bring ordinary people on, so it's like representative in some way. And then they get like 20 insane right-wing micro-influencers who are desperate for their fame. Every single one of them then posts their section of the clip online to get like as many accolades as possible. They're not ordinary people. Wannabe influencers don't act the same way ordinary people do.
And I'm on the fence myself as to whether it was a good or bad thing to have done. But one reason it was a good thing to have done is it exposed a lot of these people. It wakes people up to, these are some of the people in the United States right now. This is 20, 30, 40% of the public. I don't know what percentage you want to put on it, but it's a very loud, vocal, and growing minority.
I think this is good, by the way. I do think that shining a light on this is good, especially when contrasted against somebody of great respectability like Mehdi. That being said, it is fucked up that Jubilee cut out the more obviously racist shit that they said and did, because that makes them look so much worse, you know? Like, that's what I mean. Like, if the goal of going on there is to show just how fucking bad and detached from reality these people are, it doesn't help that the collaborationist platform is hiding the most obvious examples of them being evil and out of touch.
Would I have done the show had I known what I know now? That I don't know. And I think I definitely would have leaned towards maybe thinking twice about doing it, because I'm not someone who sits down with fascists or racists. I said this in the Jubilee show. I said, I don't debate fascists. People say to me, why don't you have X or Y on your show? And I say, election deniers or climate change. I don't have them on my show. You may notice I love a good argument. But when I wrote Win Every Argument, I said this in the book, good faith argument matters. Reality-based arguments matter. So there's no point just doing...
That shit's gotta fucking suck nowadays. Oh man, that's the whole fucking right wing now.
Arguments for clickbait. And that's what this turned into in some ways. But again, in my own defense, I had no idea. If they'd told me you're going to be sit down with a fascist, I'd have said, no thanks, I'll pass.
Wait, does he not see Israeli apologists as fascists? There's a difference between people who believe fascist things, which in my opinion makes them a fascist, and people who self-identify as fascists. It's a very critical difference. There are lots of people liberal, neoconservative, whatever, who are broadly ideologically consistent, but some of their beliefs are fascistic. You know, the whole range of an ideology a person might have, it's often contradictory, right? There are lots of people who have a fascist belief. For example, liberals in their defense of Zionism and Israel right now, I'd say this very, you could credibly call that like a fascistic belief, given what Israel's doing right now, like your defense, much in the same way that I would argue that unapologetic defense of Rhodesia, you know, back in its time would be a fascistic belief, or, you know, whatever example you prefer. But that's not the same as arguing with somebody who self-identifies as a fascist. The person who self-identifies as a fascist, a person who considers themselves one, is on a whole different level when it comes to their ability to be reached.
What they try and do when they debate or interview is distract, deflect, take you somewhere you don't want to go. My strength and a skill I've worked on is stay focused. Don't be distracted. Don't go chasing shiny objects. Focus on what you want to focus on. Don't let someone pull you somewhere else.
One of the most common fascist debate tactics is to say so many things that are so audaciously wrong so quickly in succession that they hope to distract you from like the main thing they said, you know? You have to leave a lot on the table. And that always frustrated me after I would have debates. Back when I had debates, people would ask, like, why didn't you debunk X? And the X they're referring to was like one of 270 incorrect things they said, and we barely had time in the conversation to get them to acknowledge the fact they were wrong about one, right? Like it's like, well, you can't do that. You can't go chasing them on every point. It's literally impossible. And they do it deliberately. They know they're wrong. They know they're lying to you. They're aware of this.
My preparation is to do lots of research. I have a great research team that helps me. I do my own research as well. But I try and prepare. I knew what my 4 claims were. It was about Trump's criminality, Trump's defying of the Constitution, the value of immigration, and ethnic cleansing in Gaza. And I prepped the hell out of all those 4 claims. My position is I want to know more about the argument. I want to know more about my opponent's argument than they do. I don't just want to know my argument. I need to know the other side of the argument. I need to know what they're going to say and when they're going to say it. And when they say it, I need to have my rebuttal ready. And so when baseball cap dude came and tried to have the economics discussion with me, what was interesting is he assumed I was quoting a paper from Giovanni Perry, which I wasn't. But that's where he messed up, because I wasn't. It was a totally different study that I'd brought to the table. But that's what I try and avoid. Don't assume what your opponents are going to say. Know what they're going to say. Be bulletproof in your own arguments and in steelmanning, not strawmanning, steelmanning your opponent's arguments.
You do have to steelman. This is also very important because the fascist loves their indignant fake outrage. If a fascist strawmans you, anyone who's on the left, a person on the left will go, I don't believe that. This is what I believe. But if you strawman a person on the right, they'll go, I can't believe you said I believe that. Is that what you think I believe? Ha 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 ha. Well, maybe I should just lie about you then. Like, they will jump on any perceived slight, like even though they're so aggressively bad faith, they'll jump on any perceived slight and turn the entire debate into your failure, right? You've committed a faux pas. Well, now the debate is about your faux pas. How could you possibly assume that, a person who self-identifies as a fascist who's concerned about demographic replacement and white genocide is a Nazi? Have I said anything about the Jews in it? Like, it's aggressively bad faith. So you have to make sure you only respond to stuff they explicitly state or force them to deal with what you've said. I'm going to leave the rest of this, the remaining 40% of it, I suppose, to anyone who's interested in watching. Though if you're not like watching Zateo's content on your own, I really think you're missing out, genuinely. Really, really, really good.